there folks, welcome to Economic Observations. My name is Chris. Thank you so much for watching. Today I'm going to be a little bit Massachusetts centric. Okay, so Massachusetts put a new bill into law in 2021 and they are trying to urbanize the suburb from the New Hampshire border down to the Cape Cod Canal all the way out to Worcester, which is about 50 miles west. We are mandating or saying to towns, 175 of them, that you have to build high density housing. All right, now what is high density housing? So this one town has 4,000 homes. It's kind of an affluent town west of the city. They are saying if you have 4,000 homes, well, you have to create 25% new residences in your town. High density, 15 units per acre. Did you know that Massachusetts only builds 15,000 new homes every year? 15,000. We are in a crisis apparently, a housing crisis. There is not enough units for families to live in. We can't attract and hire the best of workers because they have nowhere to live. So there is a housing crunch. From 1960 to 1990, 900,000 homes were built. But since 1990 to 2020, half of that were permitted to build. So what's the problem here? The problem is there's not enough housing and our rents and prices of homes are going astronomical. And this is pre-pandemic. The rents in the Boston area were up 53% in 2020. The price of houses, through the roof. You can't find one. And they're not building them. It's not like there are new subdivisions being built because there's not a lot of land for subdivisions anymore, right? People have homes here with a half acre. They say that an average of 2.8 homes are built on an acre. Some homes have a half acre, some houses have a third of an acre, but people generally have space, and that's the way it was always intended. Well, the governor of Massachusetts is saying no more. We want and we need high density real estate, 15 units per acre. And if you have 4,000 homes in your town, you're going to have to create 1,000 housing units within a half a mile of a train station that goes into Boston. There's one town that has 10,000 homes. It's a larger area. They have to create 2,500 residences, dwellings, homes for people to live, and it can't be exclusionary. It can't be a housing for seniors or over 55. It must include families. The state of Massachusetts is kind of barreling down now saying you have to do this or you're not going to get any grants from the state. And some cities and towns probably don't want this. I mean, I live in a town that is nearby a train station, and we already have quite a few new housing units, right? You know, maybe an apartment with 3 stories high, 15 unit kind of things, one dwelling. But I think we have 4 of them, and that's only 90 homes. And they're saying that we have to build homes for 2,500, and I just don't see where they're going to go. And if all these towns and municipalities, there's 175 of them, how is that going to affect their schools and their public service department? I mean, if you have 1,000 new homes or apartments for people to live in, that's going to swell the number of children in your schools or put a burden on the police department or the fire department or whatever it may be. So how do you manage that? I know also in my town, and all these 175 are small towns. Each town has its own school system, its own fire department, its own police department, its own library, and they are little tiny municipalities within this geographical area, right? So it's not like we're all part of the city of Boston. I mean, there are a few cities within that 175, but for the most part they're all towns. They all have a town manager, they have a board of selectmen, and they have a town meeting reps and their own budgets. So how is that going to affect us? I know that the town I live in, we have a Proposition 2.5, meaning you cannot raise our property taxes more than 2.5% unless it's voted on. So 5 years ago, we had a vote for a new high school. And then 4 years ago, we had a vote for a new library. And now this year, all of a sudden, they are saying, well, we need a fire station. And we can issue Muni Bonds at 2.3% over 30 years and spend $27 million on a new fire station. And they're asking residents to vote on it, right? Yay or nay. Are you willing to pay, on average, $100 a year more in your taxes to offset the cost of the fire department? So when I say $100, they say the average price of a home in our town is $450,000, and with that average assessed value, those homeowners would pay $100. Now, if you have a home that has a value of $900,000, well, obviously you're going to be paying more than that. So the vote is going out, and we can go vote on it on February 1st. So I have a lot of feelings on this. I listened to the town manager's Zoom meeting, and people were asking, you know, in the 1990s and as early as 2000, we built a sub fire station, and we built a police station, and we didn't have to go for debt exclusion. We had the money saved so we can buy these or build this infrastructure. Why all of a sudden, in the past 20 years or 15 years or even 5 years, do we not have the money in the coffers for this anymore? Why do we have to have debt exclusion for high school? Why do we have to have debt exclusion for a library? Why can't we have the funding to pay for this? Because we always had the funding years ago, and then all of a sudden, we don't have the funding anymore. And this municipal bond woman was on the Zoom meeting, and she said, well, money's cheap right now. You can take a 30-year bond, pay 2.3%, you know, interest rate over 30 years, and it's, you know, in the last 10 years, your dollars are worth more, so you're going to be paying less back on that money. This is a crock of shit. This is what people try to sell you. I live my life debt-free. If I don't have the money to pay for it, I don't need it. I can't go into debt doing that. I just can't see that happening. I'm trying to get ahead of the game here and not behind the game, because debt can really kill someone. So we have this vote going through, and I just feel like there's so much debt out there that we are passing on to future generations, and I can't see a 30-year note being pushed down to future generations. And what? How long is the life of a fire station or the high school or the library? Are they going to need one within that 30 years because they're getting old and antiquated or whatever, and you know that they don't build things the way they used to? The other thing, somebody asked why we don't have that money. And the town manager said our biggest expenses are pensions. And right now, she said, we are peaking at pensions, right? I guess there were more people on the dole in working for the town, and that will subside. And right now, it's a big burden, and not only our pensions, but health insurance for these retirees too. So the town has all these bills that are just, but pensions are killing us. Pensions are preventing us from having the money. And I'd love to know what you think about this, but every town and municipality all around the country has the same problem. What's going to happen to all these cities and towns? Anyway, 1,000 new housing units coming in my town. It'll be interesting to see. Thanks for watching. As always, I appreciate you. Be kind. Call someone, tell them you love them, and we will talk again real soon. Have a nice night.